You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back!
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's ride!
Good evening, everybody. It's good to have you on. Good to have you here. Wherever you're watching, 7 o'clock, it's great to always reconvene and to hang out. I think we have a stellar show. Actually, the show just got 10 times crazier just within the last half hour with all the little tidbits of information that I have added to the docket tonight. We've got Nephilim Death Squad that's showing up in a few minutes. And we'll take that for a ride. Who knows how deep into the second hour, but we'll have more than enough time to have you guys and gals call in and all that stuff. Tomorrow night, we've got great guests coming in. Thursday night, we've got great guests on. And then Friday night is the Playhouse. And then Saturday night will be a Saturday night special. I don't know what the special will be about, but we'll go live. Even if we just go live and play that retro rewind video game. Now, on YouTube, there was a little bit of a mishap. I knew something was wrong when I couldn't connect, and finally connected. I said, I bet you any money it created one of those duplicate streams and ruined all of my information. So you guys are on some kind of a generic stream right now with no thumbnail and all that, if you are watching on YouTube. And when I get out of here later on, I'll have to go and add in all of the information to the description and the thumbnail. And speaking of the thumbnail, I can't wait to show Raven and Top what happened as I was crafting this thumbnail for tonight. Ridiculousness. But it's great to have you guys here. And we are certainly going to have our fill of just insane things to talk about. Just to let you know, your support of the show is so paramount, especially on the tips and super chats and the things. Quite frankly, superchat.com. You can send something to that to be read on air no matter what time of night it is. I'll see it the next day. But YouTube, Rumble, and of course the gold pills on pilled.net. That is all going to get you into a big Thursday night raffle. That's what we always do to try to create a little bit more buzz, a little bit more support for the show. I've got, just as a baseline, I've got some silver. I've got 4 silver quarters for you. I've got a Keto Brains golden ticket. That is a full bag of Keto Brains, about 40 something, $50. A box of Shilajit straight from Cultivate Elevate. In fact, I'm putting in the lion's mane capsules from Cultivate Elevate as well. So, and there's some lion's mane in the fantastic concoction that is Keto Brain. So there you go. It's Tuesday. I've got a nice pile of incredible stuff here for you. And that is, you put your name into the running for that by sending in a super chat. I get to read that off later on. Also, if you got things to ask Nephilim Death Squad, you can also send them in super chat, and I'll just check them along the way to see if any of them are relevant to them. One thing we are going to be able to say goodbye to, which is actually kind of sad if you ask me. At the end of the month, DLive is closing up shop. If you're watching this show on DLive, I was just told earlier on today, I believe from Amethyst Cat, that DLive is going away. That they're saying, thank you everybody for all your wonderful support and all that stuff, but it is done. And I gotta say, I expected DLive to become a much bigger player in things, and I thought it was the first home of the network concept that we had. It was a lot of fun, but then things started getting a little bit dicey after January 6th. 2021. That's when they started the X tag stuff. They wanted to make sure that all the alt-right people were properly categorized. Some were completely deplatformed. But you know what? DLive was a lot of fun and still is. And, that's crazy that they're all gone. So this is the last couple of weeks that I'll be able to undo the treasure chest. If you have any spare lemons out there, you might as well just dump them on this show. Might as well. And just nuts. So there you go. Important announcement. DLive closure at the end of the month. Look, the ninja is very sad. That's the end of that, ladies and gents. On the other side of things, a little bit more mainstream crazy kind of a way, Gavin Newsom, he has a Stepford wife companion. And she was, I don't know where she was given a speaking engagement, but I don't know. She would be yapping one way or another, just the type. Take a listen to this. His wife recalls telling prisoners at San Quentin about running over and killing her sister with a golf cart. I mean, apparently she very tragically killed a sibling of hers when she was younger. But then that's not the crazy part about this. It's how she bridged the gap between her childhood tragedy to these hardened criminals who find themselves locked up in San Quentin right now.
I mean, I had to be very raw when we interviewed the young men who were juvenile offenders in San Quentin. I told them about my own loss, where I lost my older sister a few days before my 7th birthday, and I blamed myself for her death. And I share that because that they ultimately were accused of committing these violent crimes and sentenced for life. And I think it shocked them that this, blonde lady who was, interviewing them had a similar story, was perhaps in the wrong place at the wrong time. But wasn't punished the way they were, because clearly it was an accident, but theirs was probably an accident too. Oh boy. The need to relate. Am I right? The need to stretch Armstrong over here. Holy shit. Like, where is she going? She's going there. So anyway, I share that just because I guess
because you're a yapper and you just can't shut up. Can't help yourself.
I quite enjoy
yapping,
spending time with people and being real and unmasking and showing them that it's safe to unmask themselves.
Oh, they unmasked after they broke into somebody's house and they robbed everything and probably beat the owners with crowbars. They went back to their little lair and they unmasked themselves while they counted their loot. The juvenile delinquents. Just crazy. Sensational, if you ask me. Sensational. Guys, there are high-level, always remember this, there are high-level social engineers out there
who understand that they're sitting down to craft public policy, to craft initiatives, to craft narrative, to market test buzzwords, and to make sure that the fellow travelers and that of theirs that are in the university systems and high schools and everywhere start really getting new ways of thinking and new mantras and everything just disseminated down to the lower rungs of society. Like they understand, the people who are actually engineering policy and all that are like this, they understand that the goal is to destroy a nation. They know what they're picking apart. They want to dismantle it. They're doing it piecemeal, a very Fabian kind of a way. There's only one way to eat an elephant, and that's what the United States was, and that is one bite at a time. On the other hand, you have Gavin Newsom's wife, whatever she is. This is just an example of brain-dead liberal female sensibilities. That's all this is. Brain-dead liberal female sensibilities. This is why they love going after emotional women, especially just women. That's why they're always going after women, because this is ridiculous. They actually believe this woman actually believes. This is not just somebody who understands how to get an easily digestible message down to people on the ground level that will turn into action somewhere down the road, during an election, during some sort of social upheaval, during a triggering event in society that could be turned into political action. How you can just groom people into being completely autonomous drones. That's what the social engineers are about. They're a much higher pay level than Gavin Newsom's Stepford wife. But this is a woman who actually believes that most of the people in San Quentin are probably there by accident. Okay? So there is deliberate demolition, and then there is altruistic suicide. It's both of those things. There are people who actually believe that they're doing the right thing. And then there are others who know that they are setting dynamite and they're going to blow everything up. Wrong place, wrong time. Yeah. No, it was not at all as a result of lifestyle, mental state, or both. Not at all. So there's that. Just a little bit of a reminder of what we all live with. Some more than others. Californians, there you go. I get reminded of what we live with here in New York all the time. I have a little something to play for Jay when he comes in here on Thursday. A little reminder of what kind of rule Massachusetts is dealing with. Man, your governor's a dimwit as well. Holy shit. They're probably all cousins. Kissing cousins. So, I just brought it up again today. I appeared on a radio show in Philadelphia today. I think it's 12:10 a.m. And the host was Dan Borowski. And he had Frank Scales on there from Surge Philly. We had watched a little bit of Frank Scales' recent Man on the Street stuff with the No Kings weekend. I was like, no shit, he's going to be on the show? Yeah, and we did like a panel. I put the link into the Telegram. I put the link into a few other places. It was really nice. And he asked me back next Tuesday. So if you're in the Philadelphia area, you can actually hear my voice on radio, I think. But you can also watch it on YouTube. And it was a lot of fun. They're good guys. And I hope that's a new bridge that's been built there. But yeah, what the hell was I talking about? Oh yeah, this morning I got to actually tell Frank Scales. Yeah, man, I've been watching this, kind of analyzing this stuff for a long time, and it really has nothing to do with politics, and really has nothing to do with gauge, the what needs to be done to win an election. For me, all of these man on the street things, these interactions, especially in a protest situation where people are there to do one thing and one thing only, that is represent their thoughts on a certain subject. And when you get to watch them twist in the wind under basic scrutiny and see them just break down or run or stutter themselves, like it shouldn't be. You didn't ask somebody to do advanced calculus. Why are you here? Oh, so-and-so is a racist. So-and-so is Hitler. So-and-so is... Okay, can you give me an example of that? Oh, now you're putting me on the spot. No, We're not. No, we're not. It's not putting you on the spot to back up with one example the reason why you have come to the conclusion that a person, a group of people are the worst people in history that are hell-bent on one atrocity or another. It's not putting somebody on the spot. So I told him about that. I said, it's just crazy. And thank you for all of your work dealing with these psychopaths, because it is really more so of a social, a sociological observation at practice at this point. And what it always comes back around to is, how do we disenfranchise people? They always say they're trying to limit voting rights. They're trying to disenfranchise us. Yeah, well, my whole thing is we are disenfranchised. 100% we're disenfranchised just by the fact that we don't have representation, not proper representation, not representation that has been properly apportioned, through the prescriptions that were made by our founding fathers and those who drafted and codified and ratified the Constitution. We don't have representation. 330 million people are not being represented properly or proportionally in any way by 435 people. That is no, it's not. But my town alone, my village alone should have a representative to the House. My village. Forget about district, my village. Actually, it should be, it's like a representative in a quarter. It's crazy. So that's number one. We're already disenfranchised. They wouldn't be able to conceive of that. But when it goes down the line there too, to the people who are voting, like, how do we just take real voting rights away? We got to do that. Say, are we going back to property ownership? I don't own a home. But then again, every time I vote, my vote is completely washed away by, at least 3 dozen knuckle dragging assholes. So what does it matter? Fine. Let's see what happens there. I don't know. We'll talk about this at some other time. We will. Tonight we're going to be jumping into something a little bit more crazy. Actually, hold on. Wait. We got a couple of minutes before we can bring the guys in. I have to play this for you. This is Donald Trump on Easter Day. He's sitting down with, at a kid's table talking about Easter eggs or something. And one of the kids says, President Trump, you're the best, or something like that. And he agrees with him. And then he goes on to talk to this kid about, I hope that this is real. And it was, shared by the White House. He goes on to talk to this kid about how, how Joe Biden was signing. He's talking about the auto pen with this little kid, which, if this is all that we were dealing with right now, it would just be it would be amazing to me, because this is hilarious.
What's going on with Easter eggs? Donald Trump, you're the best president.
He says, you're the best president. He says, thank you, honey.
Honey, I agree.
I agree.
Biden would use the auto pen. He'd have an auto pen problem. Joe Biden, he didn't sign. He was incapable of signing.
Joe Biden had an auto pen. He didn't sign. He was incapable of signing things. He's selling this to 5-year-olds. I think this is hilarious.
So they follow him around with this big machine. You know what it's called? An auto pen.
They followed him around with this big machine. You know what it's called? An auto pen.
And he'd have the auto pen signed for it. He'd take the paper, hand it to his guys, and sign it with an auto pen. It's not too good, right? I can sign autographs. And then tonight you can sell it for $25,000 on eBay.
Sell it for $25,000 on eBay. This is what we needed. This is what we needed. I guess we're getting it as well, but I think we're getting a little bit too much extra right now too. And there you go. And then we got this. Then we got this announcement about Tehran. I didn't see this, how they're going to bomb Iran and all that stuff. And the Easter Bunny is standing right next to him. I wonder what was going on inside of that big Easter Bunny head while this was happening.
And I don't think it gets much more hostile than Iran. They're capable fighters. They're very tough people. And there are others like that. You don't mind when the enemy is weak, but that enemy is strong. Not so strong like they were about a month ago, I can tell you. In fact, right now they're Not too strong at all, in my opinion, but was.
I would do anything for the Easter Bunny to slowly nod. Like, yeah, not too strong now, are they? Almost like he's like a cabinet member. I hope next time that we see one of those cabinet meetings in the long table, all these important people, they have their, the Joint Chiefs are there. I hope that somewhere at that table is the Easter Bunny. I hope it's somewhere. That would be incredible. That would be absolutely incredible. But there's a lot of interesting things happening over there right now. And tonight is apparently it's apparently going to be do or die. As he said, a whole civilization will die tonight. Put that on a Truth Social. Never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionary, wonderful can happen. Who knows? Well, I hope so. Because he went on to talk about how, we're essentially fighting, the IRGC to make sure that they stop throwing gays, threw the gays out there, the precious gays. So that they stop throwing the gays off of the top of the buildings over there in Iran. Well, I hope you don't bring all of civilization down because the precious gays, the Iranian, the Persian gays will be gone too. You don't want to do that. Well, listen. We're talking about technology. We're talking about things so far beyond our comprehension. And beyond that, I have to bring in these two guys to talk with me. It's been a long time. I know it's April 7th, but it feels like it's January because this is the first time these two have been on, quite frankly, in 2026. We got Top. We got Raven. How the hell you guys doing?
What's going on, brother? Has it really been the first time in 2026? I didn't even stop and think about that.
This is the first time.
What's going on?
I don't know. I have no clue, but the 4 months went by like nothing, and here we are. You guys have been, hard at work. You're never stopping over there. Give us a little bit of an update how life's been.
Hey Frank, you don't love us anymore? Like,
That's what it is.
I need to know what's going on.
This is, I feel like the distance has put a strain on our relationship.
Is it because I didn't come to the event? That was my bad.
That was your fault, dude. I told you if you don't come to the event, he's not going to invite us back.
You've been on several times since the event. You've been on several times since the event.
I know, but I know it was begrudgingly. No, man, everything's been fantastic. The world's going to hell, and the bright side of that is a never-ending flow of content.
Yes. Well, I gotta show you guys something before we really get into this. As I was putting together the thumbnail for tonight, I made the mistake of prompting my program over here that. Okay, here's me in my jester costume, and then here is Top and Raven. And can you I made the mistake of saying, can you just huddle us into the bottom right hand corner of this video, this thumbnail? And it took huddling. So look at this. Top is actually holding, like we're trying to hold. It almost looks like Raven's about to be brought to the gas chamber or something, and we need to hold him up on his feet because he's like weak kneed.
Oh, hugging David. I like this.
I think it read cuddling. It's a horrifying look into the not so distant future of what I may look like after a couple of pounds. And just a little bit of aging.
Yeah, you're really looking more like Lalo Salamanca every day. And
I'm looking, dude. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I didn't place it until you just said it right now. Lalo.
It's unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a couple of people out there who nail it. They've picked it up early and they've never put it down.
It's a huge part of the success of the show. So, I mean, I really can't complain.
Because people think it's the actor with the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I'm going to have to watch Better Call Saul again now. It's just crazy. All right, guys. Well, listen. Here's where I want to start tonight because it is crazy. You actually sent this to me. We were talking. There's so many hidden technology pieces out there. I guess you can actually put the whole UFO disclosure question into this. Whatever. I guess there's a lull in the news, or when people when the polling shows that people are absolutely sick of Iran headlines, maybe that's when we get all the disclosure that is being brought to a boil now by everybody, members of Congress, the whatever. But this is crazy. Before we get to that, you guys sent this to me.
Tukey says, holy shit, the CIA just used a tool called Ghost Murmur to find an American pilot hiding in a mountain crevice in Iran by detecting his heartbeat. Not his phone, not a tracker, not a radio signal, his heartbeat. Lockheed Martin Skunk Works built it. The same classified division that built the SR-71 Blackbird, the stealth bomber, the U-2 spy plane, every secret aircraft America has ever denied existed until they didn't. It uses quantum magnetometry to pick up the electromagnetic pulse your heart makes every time it beats. Is this for real? This is. You've checked that this is real?
Well, scroll down. I mean, it's retweeted from Polymarket, which again, I mean, is not a legitimate news site, but they reported it first. And to me, nothing is beyond the realm of possibility at this point. Like, we're being slowly introduced to different technologies. So when we invaded Venezuela, or not really invaded, we just went there and just took their president, which is crazy.
Yeah,
I guess we still have him somewhere. Maybe
somewhere,
he's
discombobulated.
He's in New York.
Natural history or whatever. They put him in New York, right?
Yeah,
there you go. I mean, look, how long ago was it that we became aware of like the heart attack gun? So if you could cause the thing to fail, maybe you can give it a couple of decades and then detect it from afar. It's not, like you said, it's not beyond the pale. Whether or not this article is true, I have no doubts that they have that sort of thing. And it just brings to mind like people that go, you know what, dude, it's time. It's time. It's time to like rise up and like overthrow this. I'm like, they're going to discombobulate you, dog. You're going to bleed from your eyes and your ass,
vomiting,
and you're not going to be able to hide in the sewers because they're going to be able to detect your heartbeat. I'm not trying to blackpill and say you can't do it, but people have a real, I think, messed up idea of what it means to try to overthrow.
We're going to all be eating dookie bowls and diarrhea soon. You can't do this.
You can't overthrow a tyrannical American government, not easily, at least, not without getting a few discombobulations.
Yeah, but I think that they have this stuff, and I think the larger conversation, because it is all related in a way. So this is another preview into what we've got, and Trump keeps on saying, well, I mean, up until maybe 20 minutes ago, he was like, we're going to destroy all of Iran.
Wait, what was the phrase? He was like, we're going to eliminate a people group or something.
He said civilization is going to end in Iran. Essentially, he said.
We went there to liberate them. So they said was like last week or so. So yeah, he was like, basically, they're going to like nuke all of their, not nuke, but they're going to destroy all of their bridges, ports, clean water systems, anything that they use to survive. We're going to destroy it. And we were pretty close to that. But at one point, I think one of his speeches, I had sent it to you at some point, Frank, where he said, we have exotic weaponry that we're ready to use. People have never, they've never seen anything like this.
I don't think just ready to use. I think excited to use. You want to listen to this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have to, because he gave a name. We were talking right after New Year's Day. I think we went into Venezuela on like the 2nd of the year or something like that, or it could have been New Year's Day. I don't know. And from the get-go, we were getting these very strange accounts that were coming out of Venezuela that seemed to be like accounts from people that were there, that I didn't believe the veracity of them, to be honest. It seemed like it was too dramatic. It almost seemed like propaganda, where it's just like the Americans came in like ghosts in the night. It was just it was so dramatic. I said, who wrote this? Was it really the palace guards? But anyway, he gave a name. This is a back what, in March he said this?
Yeah.
In March he gave it a name, some of the exotic weaponry that we will find out about one day. He called it a discombobulator. Listen to this.
Unbelievable operation, but that was a smaller operation. But it was so precise, so incredible. Nobody thought a thing like that could happen. They even talk about the discombobulator because they never got a shot off. The Russian equipment didn't work. The Chinese equipment didn't work. Everyone's trying to figure out why it didn't work. Someday you're going to find out. But it didn't work. It's nice when you can fly in and not get shot at.
They were discombobulated.
Unbelievable.
I love that. As far as marketing goes, or like, whoever's doing branding, discombobulator is maybe the best name that you could give to a high-tech weapon.
It means your eyes fall out of your head.
It means your eyes bleed and there's nothing you can do about it. I do like the idea that a guy that may be potentially filled with like the spirit of the Antichrist is kind of charming. He's kind of funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I do enjoy that. I like that. There's so many aspects of the false apocalypse that are gay and cringy. but he's entertaining.
Well, almost everything about it is gay. Like Peter Thiel, the sweaty guy, gay, very cringy. But this part, it's at least fun. But we're on the edge of this disclosure idea, right? And they're like dripping things out to us, whether it be alien life or UFOs that we're constantly. We have Tim Burchett in the news that's talking about. I don't know. He can be talking about alien life, or he can be talking about the scientists that have been looking at the UFOs just disappearing. I think we're up to number 9.
Yeah. Matt Gaetz comes out. He goes, "We have a hybridization program between human beings and ETs." And then who's the other? JD Vance comes out and he goes, "Aliens are demons." And I go,
which is a touchy subject, which I don't really want to get into any argument with.
And I'm still.
It is very touchy.
The last one, but. All of these things are, it's like I said at the top of the show. Yeah, sure.
I don't want to get into that right meow.
No. But everything is going to hell, but it is entertaining and it is giving a lot of content, which is fantastic for us.
Well, going back to the Murmur gun, you guys are talking about the heart attack. That was 75.
Yeah.
If I remember, it was the church committee or something like that. I forget what the hell it was. That was 1975 that we learned that the heart attack gun was not only real, but it had been operational. So as far as the ability to lock in on a very specific electromagnetic resonance of a single solitary person and be able, the whole idea of being able to detect it from vast distances, though, I mean, I guess that's part of the magic of the technology. If it truly is real, because how that, I don't understand that at all. But
I don't claim to understand it, but it does. It just makes a lot of sense given that framework. If 75 is really, when that sort of thing is invented, and that's if we take the official narrative for it. What's the expression that the government is always 50 years ahead of what the general public is aware of? And I think that is also conservative. I think they're probably leaps and bounds beyond that. So who knows? I think all things are on the table.
Yeah, 50 years sounds a little bit less believable these days. I think it might be more than that. But yeah, I don't know how long have you guys been going into this. I read a couple of threads on this. I didn't know that we were up to 9. I remember it was about 7 or 8 before, but I guess every day there's another science whiz that has been completely decimated in some way, and it's been added to this very, quickly growing list of people, disappearances. They say military personnel with ties to advanced research is deeply concerning. Now, I don't know what advanced. Have you guys gotten any kind of information on what that advanced research really pertained to? Was it aeronautics? Was it? They say over here classified programs, advanced tech, but at the same time, a lot of strange things are going on in the sky.
Well, Top and I were talking earlier, and you were saying that you think, this disclosure that we seem to be barreling towards, a lot of us are concerned about the alien aspect of it. But you were saying, Top, that you think a lot of it is going to be the technological aspect, and I guess maybe 0 point technology, things like that.
I think we're going to be given a lot of talk about aliens because it's fun. So we have Disclosure Day. So that'll be our little distraction.
Oh, the Spielberg movie. Yeah.
I can't wait. Too bad you guys don't live a little bit closer. We can all go to Disclosure Day premiere together, but you guys are too far away.
Right now, we're thinking about renting out a theater and having an exclusive viewing. I don't know how that's going to play out. Turns out it's not really an impossible task. So, but yeah, I'm excited for it.
Go figure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think we're going to be given a little song and dance with the alien stuff. They'll touch on it, and if they do touch on the nature of the aliens, it'll probably only be the Greys, which they've already deemed as demonic.
Which might themselves be some form of technology. I keep that on the table at all times. Some sort of biomechanical automaton, genderless, genitalialess, and it seems to have no emotional range. It's just carrying out orders of operations. I think that there's a high likelihood that those things are not sentient in the way that we would think of sentient. In fact, we've interviewed Karen Wilkinson, who is a lifelong abductee victim, and she can recollect being on a craft and seeing them discarded off to the side, smelling foul and inactive, almost like a suit, like you would discard something to the side when it's not in use. So I think there's a lot in the realm of technology that we don't understand. We're thinking propulsion devices. I think it goes far exceedingly beyond that.
Yeah, but for me, I'm thinking more along the political level as well. So the public is going to get some sort of like nonsense explanation about where this tech came from, and I think we're going to make some weird leaps and bounds. I know this is a crazy prediction, but the way the economy is going, the way everything is going sideways, we're about to abandon the dollar. we need this weird leap in technology that's going to right the ship in so to speak.
Yeah.
So what I think is going to happen is, number one, this technology is going to be revealed as part justification for the weapons that we may use in a war against, you name it. I mean, Iran seems like the big one. A lot of weird prophecy is pointing at this, whether it be Judaic prophecy or Chris Bledsoe. Yeah, what he was talking about, although he was wrong.
That's right.
Supposed to be yesterday.
Wait,
wrong about what? What was the prediction?
Chris Bledsoe, longtime alien abductee victim himself, I think back in like 2012 or something like that, he comes into contact with something that he calls the Lady. Now, this thing identifies itself as a bunch of different entities: Ishtar, Hathor, Isis, Mother Mary, the Holy Spirit, Inanna, all these different things. And it basically tells him that a number of things are going to happen. One that is of most significance lately is that there's going to be a war with Iran and Israel. And around that time, the star Regulus is going to align with the Sphinx and turn red, which is an actual astrological event that will happen, apparently, if people that are into that sort of thing say, yeah, it's going to happen, just not yet. Now, the prediction was April 6th. When that happens, some great knowledge will awaken in humanity. Yeah. And we will be on the brink of nuclear war with Israel and Iran, and orbs will come out of the ocean, and they're going to stop this whole thing. And this is when these things are going to reveal themselves to us.
So we have we were watching it closely because he's been saying it since 2012. It sounds batshit crazy, but here we are in April 2026, and we are at war with Iran.
And there are a lot of orbs.
There's a lot of orbs. They're not coming out of the ocean just yet. So a lot of these things are lining up, but now they're saying that the actual astrological date would be I think sometime in August.
But my thing is, it doesn't matter what the actual he came out and he said April 6th. That's what he said.
Right.
And as far as I'm concerned, God isn't the author of confusion. In my opinion, this thing is definitely not the Holy Spirit. In fact, one of the things that it identifies itself as is the Queen of Heaven. And in the Bible, if you look up any verse having to do with the Queen of Heaven, it is widely regarded by biblical scholars as Ishtar, which is a fallen entity, and it's always in a negative light. It says things like, and the women gave offerings unto the Queen of Heaven and provoked the anger of God. It's never positive. And it only comes up in the book of Jeremiah, but it's never a positive thing.
Well, Ishtar is also known to have temples of prostitution. That's kind of where this sex magic would be going toward.
Aryan goddess.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's central to all of the even just the eyes wide shut types of narratives there too. I mean, in the movie, the opening of the movie at the Ziegler's party, they had the Star of Ishtar all over the place. So it's central to even messaging about even well established and ongoing hierarchies in the world that are active today. So whether it's just a nod or it's it can't be just a nod, that's for sure. You had mentioned in the beginning, are you you were talking about the Antichrist in the beginning. So are you guys both of the belief that this is the role that Donald Trump is serving right now? Is he working directly for an antichristic cause? Is that's what? And if so, is it witting or unwitting?
Well, we had that big article come out recently where, so there was, I forgot who was a politician that also echoed these sentiments, but there was a complaint issued to the department within the military that handles religious complaints. And yeah, this whole thing was a debriefing for the soldiers where they told people that God anointed Donald Trump, that this was a holy war and that this was going to bring about the second coming of Christ. So whether or not that's actually what's happening, there is so much pushing to fulfill prophecy around this whole scenario, not only with the wars, but just, everything that is on the horizon, whether it's disclosure or otherwise, that I don't want to jump to conclusions. There was a time in the show's history, Nephilim Death Squad's history, where we would look at aspects of Donald Trump and they were very curious, a lot of really strange things. And we would even wonder, is this guy the Antichrist? In fact, I think we were on Tinfoil Hat, did a whole episode, a breakdown on that.
And that was after his assassination attempt.
Right. Yeah. So the amount of material, you might say, that puts itself in that corner, it's mounting constantly. So, but these days, I'm not so sure he's the Antichrist. I think what you said, Frank, is maybe more apt. He is, and he's moved by this spirit of Antichrist.
When you start making predictions, it can get weird, and then who knows which way it's going to go. But he is an Antichrist, and throughout antiquity, there has been an Antichrist figure that has been propped up and put in place just in case, because in our opinion, as Christians, we don't think that end times are going to be forced by the enemy. They're doing their best to play it out. The demonic realm, if you will, they're trying to play this out and constantly fulfill it. So they always have their guy in place. They have their Antichrist ready to go, and they come and they go, like Napoleon Bonaparte. I don't know, maybe Hitler, whatever, you name it. They have a guy ready in case this is the time. But it seems more and more like this is ever the time. Like the technology has increased. We're at this point where Donald Trump himself is talking about just overall disclosure. And like, this is back to the point of what we were saying. We're going to be dealing with alien technology, stuff that's been given to us, maybe back engineered. Who knows the lies that they'll tell us about the technology that we're going to get, but it will change our lives. And this goes back to the book of Enoch and the book of Genesis 6, where they talk about the sons of God, the B'nai Elohim, which are angels, taking the daughters of wives. And in that time, there's a dowry, and the dowry would be in exchange for your daughter's hand and some of those cheeks. Let me give you this. And then we have a little handshake deal. And that's usually technology. So like Azazel's bringing weaponry and makeup and agriculture and things like that.
Metallurgy. Yeah. That's typically how these things go. I mean,
so it's the same story again being played out alongside of a strange like breeding program / cloning program /
I was gonna
name it. It's all.
I was going to bring that up. I mean, I last week when I was talking about who the hell was it that was talking about the hybridization program? Who was it? It wasn't Burchett, was it? Or was it Matt Gaetz? Matt Gaetz.
Probably Gaetz.
So around there, that's when I threw up this, I don't know, maybe a 2009, 8, 10, somewhere around there, an old Alex Jones clip of him talking about, how he was told this fantastical story once about how, underground in one place or another, there are humans crossed with fish and all this other stuff, inside of, tanks and gulping and clawing, wanting to get out. All the man-made horrors that are all over the place. And I think about that. I said, off the books chimeric experiments. I always just naturally assume that's going on. As far as whether or not that is the source of what here on the surface has become the theories, the Dr. David Jacobs kind of hybrid human alien hybrid replacement systems, where it's essentially just it's really just a way to in a nonviolent way overtake the world by slowly outbreeding us and genetically engineering us in a very covert way. I don't know, and it makes me wonder about the abductee that you were talking about. I know one of the things that is very prevalent with abductees is that it's genetic, it's generational. Yeah. That this will happen within families, and some of them will say, there's something demonic about it. So others will think that they were taken to a place that was not on this earth. I've had people get in touch with me years ago and say, Frank, listen, I have been taken and visited by these things constantly, and when I tell you that there's no amount of uttering and calling on the name of Jesus Christ that helps me when I'm in this situation. Nobody comes to my aid. It's not as if they are demons that these entities that just scatter like cockroaches when the light goes on whenever they invoke the name of Jesus. Like there's a lot of people here who have very mixed views of what the hell we're dealing with. That no doubt there has to be some sort of a you could say demonic, dark, spiritual force there, but there's some kind of a mix. There's something going on. That's what a lot of people just have.
Joseph Jordan.
Yes,
I did it this time. Joseph Jordan. He's a MUFON investigator. And he's got, I don't know, I would probably say like upwards of 1,000 different cases that he's dealt with. And he says he has 600 cases he can point to where individuals call on Christ to stop the event. And he says in those 600 cases, they have what you're talking about. He calls it generational iniquity. And that's what the Bible calls it as well. And what he means by that is somebody in their bloodline was a practitioner of sort in the occult, into witchcraft, into New Age, Gnostic, you name it. And I think that that is something. It is important to draw attention to that. There are plenty of cases where it doesn't work. So on the one hand, where it does work, that's a phenomenal data point that works at all. And I think people really need to focus on that. Why does that work at all? But on the other hand, in the cases where it doesn't work, within the Bible, you have instances of that. Jesus says himself that some require fasting and prayer to cast out, and the 7 sons of Sceva are unable to cast them out because they don't know Christ. They try to cast out these demons, and the demons, won't come out. And what they say is, I'm casting you out in the name of Jesus that Paul called on, or something to that effect. And they say, Paul I know, and Jesus I know, but you I don't know. So that might be a faith issue. And I'm not saying that these people that are going through this are struggling with faith. I think if you've seen the darkness, it's actually quite easy to believe in the light. But I think you run into a different issue if you're no longer dealing with something that is spiritual. If we're talking about automatons, I think a lot of these experiences are actually shields for MK Ultra like projects, where they're taking people.
There's a mix of like weird spiritual activity from the spiritual realm, some would say, and then actual physical. Like if you're being mugged and you go, in the name of Jesus, stop it. Like, I'm just getting stabbed still. It doesn't. That doesn't work. Yeah, we're actually operating here on a different realm, so that authority doesn't work in that way. And we know for sure people get abducted. They're seeing all manner of things, from gray aliens to insectoids to government people, like our friend Colin that we've interviewed.
Oh yeah, medical personnel, scientific personnel.
He's saying, that he was being upgraded on some sort of a medical table in like a white room, and his testimony is that they're saying, hey, you've agreed to this. You agreed to this a long time ago. You've consented. Lay down. And these are just dudes in lab coats. But then he's also experiencing other phenomena where he's talking with like a blue sort of man that is ethereal. So
yeah, he's like made of plasma or something like that.
Yeah, so like you're dealing with like a spiritual entity, and then sometimes you're dealing with maybe a government worker.
Yeah.
Or an actual physical entity. There's no reason for these things to stop, but like David says all the time, it's like the fact that does work sometimes, it should give you pause and not throw out the rest.
Yeah. I think the nature of a thing, that's what's really obvious in this whole phenomenon, is that throughout history it takes different forms. And I think everybody will agree to that. It's like they seem to have the ability to shapeshift. They present as one thing historically, they present as another thing in modern day. And I think if you looked at the phenomenon from a distance and you counted all the different renditions of it, there would be a lot. There'd be a whole lot. So if that is the case, if these things have the ability to present differently, if these things have the ability to take different shapes, if there are shapeshifters out there, I think then what matters is not the form, but the function. And I think inherently these things are demonic. They're against humanity. They're against God. They're deceptive in their nature. They're very deceptive. Overwhelmingly, that's the information that you get back from the abductee testimony. So I think that at some point, a conversation should be had about what are these things.
We're not going to have that conversation.
It's hard, especially as it's coming closer to us.
Yeah, but the conversation that everybody wants to have right now is going to be very it's just surface level. It will be about the grays, the malevolent aliens, and then the technology that we're going to get, because we'll be in my opinion, I think we're going to be too preoccupied with all the cool stuff that we're about to see.
I'm going to be preoccupied with jet boots.
Yeah, dog.
I was as I was writing the show tonight, I was saying to myself, everybody has kind of aligned themselves on one side of the gymnasium or the other, and sometimes they come to the center of the gym and they dance. And other times they just stick to their side, their clique, and their position on what you think all this is. And but I think what it really comes down to is that something surely is going to come, and I think that we're going to be presented with something. And sure, there's going to be 10,000 different opinions and prescriptions, but that is it's exciting to me, because I think most people think that this was always going to be a late stage play for some kind of, gigantic planetary reset. And I don't know what the hell that is. And I just wonder how well, I to be honest, I really do think that COVID that's what this was in preparation for. Because when I was talking about it before, we just referenced it again, maybe about last week or so, that when in 2020, by the late spring, we were calling it Project Flu Beam,
because when you really, at that point, when you really thought about it, if you swapped out that microbe for aliens, it was all the same messaging. It was all the same. Like, what the hell was it? It's just something you couldn't see, as opposed to, you know, we got stuff coming down, and people fell in line. You know, what was it? I think only about 15 to 20% of the population of this country, of Earth, I don't know, a small population of this country really held their own and did not take any kind of prescribed medication. So you think about people who just got in line. To think that a Project Blue Beam like thing to be attempted would not hold sway over many tens of millions is foolish thinking. Take a look at this. This is from the New York Post.
Can I just say something on that before I lose that thought? Because that's like a really important thing what you're touching on, and it's exactly what this spiritual realm exists on. Like more so than the force and like how strong and big and dangerous these entities may or may not be. The spiritual realm specifically exists on law, on consent. And the whole idea of COVID was, will you consent to this?
Yeah.
Right.
I learned that very early on before I was even speaking into a microphone. It was just the fact of like, will you wear this mask? And then you say no, and people go, well, what do I do now? And then, will you do this thing? And I just say no. And you learn after a while of saying no, I do not consent to this. There's really no recourse for those people. I mean, they could take your job or whatever this is, but in my opinion, God has your back. So I'm just sitting there and I'm just saying, no, I do not consent. And I feel like this next stage of lockdowns or whatever that we're coming to, that was a test phase. COVID was a test phase to see how many people would consent to something light. Now they have very valuable information. And if we move on to this next thing and they want to do whatever it may be, they already know, like you said, 80 to 85% of the population will consent. And that's all that this is about. It's just constant asking for permission. And if you give it permission, it's going to do whatever it wants to you. You have to have some fortitude about you.
Can you just imagine? I mean, because I think the first thing that people thought was, once we started coming out of the absolute catatonic like shock fog of 2020 to 2022, when things really started loosening up a lot, when we started becoming like a little, like the fog cleared just a little bit, naturally people were wondering, okay, when are they going to try this again? Can you imagine if it's just if all of 2020 was as traumatizing as it was all to just really test the grounds as to how well the alien narrative would work X amount of years later? Because you have to imagine that a lot of the same protocols would be put into place. I don't know how much of it is going to be medical. I mean, an alien vaccine. I don't know. I don't know.
If there's something on the planet that's from, not our planet, then you might want to vaccinate yourself against it. Yeah, I mean,
or if you want access to the technology, like think about, if I'm still driving a car, but Frank is driving a UFO and operating with all this technology that I don't have.
You know how hard that would be?
If I want to compete with you, I have to use, I mean, this is the mark of the beast.
If we go, Frank, right? You want to come in the studio? And he's like, I'm here.
You're like, well,
like, dude, maybe we get a UFO.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, listen,
what do you gotta do to get one?
I think about the teleportation stuff. If it was safe and effective, if teleportation was safe and effective, that would be very hard to not try. Oh man, I mean, think about that.
Apparently, they only go to Waffle Houses now, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. Who do they teleport to a Waffle House? There was like a senator or something, right? With the FEMA, the head of operations at FEMA.
Stings.
Yeah, he said it wasn't great. It was jarring, and he didn't like it. But he went to a Waffle House,
and that was great.
Well,
did you see that? You know what we're talking about?
No, what are you talking? Well, I didn't hear anything about the Waffle.
Dude, this is a real thing. I don't know if you can maybe Tom can find this. There's the director of operations. I might be a little bit off on the phrasing there. Of FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, just came out and said that he was teleported.
I know this sounds psychotic, and I'm so sorry that we have to like do this, but this is true.
Oh wait, I found it. Hold on.
He was teleported to a Waffle House.
Let me get this.
And he said, when I arrived,
like, dude,
everybody was fighting, so nobody noticed that I suddenly popped up there.
No. So for the podcast people out there, here's the headline from News Nation: Waffle House staff fail to recall FEMA official teleporting to restaurant. Okay, so staff at a Waffle House location in Georgia are drawing blanks when it comes to claims made by a FEMA official stating that he teleported to the restaurant. Greg Phillips,
claimed he teleported 50 miles to one of the chain's locations during a now deleted podcast appearance in January 2025. I've seen it all, said Shatoni Burge. Is this for real?
Yeah, dude.
That's real, man. Yeah, and he's doubled down recently as well. Also, I wanted to say, Frank, podcast people is a little derogative.
That is a little bit, yeah.
It's almost like a slur.
Yeah.
Well, they're good. They need to toughen up. I've never seen that. Burge was among 24 employees and regulars interviewed about the claims. All of them acknowledged not experiencing any metaphysical activity. None of them recognized a picture of Phillips either. Quote, I can say I've been drunk and ended up in a Waffle House, added 29-year-old Austin Spears. I don't know how I got there, but I was there. Beyond the Waffle House claim, Phillips has a history of outlandish and violent rhetoric on podcasts and social media. Quote, this is so...
Violent? That sounds awesome.
It says outlandish and violent. I want to hear his greatest hits now.
We can get him on the show.
Yeah, please. Let's see. This is so silly, it's barely worth acknowledging, a FEMA spokesperson said about the situation. DHS and FEMA and Mr. Phillips are focused on the critical mission. Okay, well, I want to hear the original now, but thank you for bringing this up. I'll go check that out later.
You have to, dude. And I maintain that the reason nobody noticed him is because there was a fight at the Waffle House. There's always a fight at the Waffle House. And if a FEMA official just manifests out of nowhere, who's going to notice that while chairs are flying across the room and plates are smashing against the ground?
The interesting part about that story is that, if I remember correctly, he was taken like against his will. Like, he didn't necessarily want to do that.
The way he described the process was like, it sucks, but like once it's happening, and you got to go through it, and it's not pleasant at all. Is basically
the teleportation process.
Teleportation.
So
also, Waffle House, the same experience. Yes.
Waffle House. Well, yeah, half of World Star Hip Hop is all Waffle House videos. But
once you're there, like, you're already going. It's a terrible experience.
It sucks because when I was a kid, when we were taking trips down the East Coast, that was my favorite part about like hitting Virginia, is that every 25 feet there was another Waffle House, and I loved when we used to stop there. But we never saw anything too outlandish. I guess the things have just really gotten bad over the last 20 years.
It's my understanding that the turnout to Waffle Houses has declined so significantly. That's the only way they actually get customers.
Waffle House
teleport them.
It's the canary in the coal mine of America.
Yeah.
And you're seeing what's happening now.
Well, if they allow you to bet on the fights, then maybe that would be something else there too.
That would help.
Here's something though, just to wrap this one up before we get to the brainless bodies, because I think we brought this up once when you guys were on the air before. Congress demands Department of War release 46 secret UFO videos. You're gonna see. Here's the quote. You're gonna see some weird effing shite. Now, I just want to get down to this because it brings up, what you just brought up, Bledsoe, before. Those with knowledge of the long list of videos are going to be coming out, which include titles like several UAP in vicinity of Columbus, Ohio airport and UFOs in formation over Persian Gulf, said the clips are shocking. The wildest clips include radar footage from thermal sensors, satellite images, and here you go. You want to talk about those underwater orbs and everything? Underwater photos of swarms of identified submerged objects, the insider says. So, if Bledsoe was off by anything, it wasn't by much.
No, and it's not really. I like to bust Bledsoe's balls. It's just that I think the entity he's interacting with is actually deceptive. I don't believe it's the Holy Spirit or Mother Mary.
Oh, he's channeling? He channels?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean,
he's using CE5, right?
No, he wasn't using CE5 all those years ago. It visits him in abductions. It abducts him and disseminates this information. But I mean, either way, yeah, I do think we're going to see something come to pass. I guess I should say that, because as much as I make fun of the Bledsoes, I do think we're going to see something come to pass that's just like that. And I think there's a high likelihood. I don't know if you're familiar with Arthur C. Clarke's Childhood's End. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Basically, it's a story about aliens. They show up and they introduce technology to us and these systems that improve everything, and they create a veritable utopia on Earth, but they don't reveal themselves. And only until years after this utopia has been established do they finally reveal themselves and their nature. And of course, spoiler alert, they're demons. So I think
big, red, greasy.
Yeah, I think we're going to see something similar to that, where like we might have a nuclear intervention that comes by way of these orbs, and we might be saved. I think they're going to paint themselves as a savior figure, but I don't know. When these stories come out, did you hear Tim Burchett recently came out, Congressman Tim Burchett, and he said that aliens are real, and if the public knew what he knew, everything would come off the tracks. I believe I'm actually like nailing the phrase.
Yeah.
Everything would come off the tracks, and I just find that kind of ridiculous. I don't know about you, Frank, but Tim Burchett, he's this fragile sort of elderly man. And look, maybe he's got a mind like a steel trap. I just don't think we're in that place anymore where if the public were introduced to these things in some real way, what makes Tim Burchett have the fortitude to not fall apart and still be able to continue his job as a congressman?
Yeah.
But if the general public was exposed to these things that we are exposed to constantly, I mean, ever since 2017, it's been recovered off-world crafts. It's been orbs. Just constantly, Oumuamua, 3-Eye Atlas, orbs following, naval ships in the New Jersey drone scenario. All these
Peruvian face peelers, you name it. The thing in the Nephilim Miami,
the Nephilim in Miami, or the aliens in Las Vegas,
the Tic Tac, of course,
right? Yeah. And people overwhelmingly, I don't know if this is your gauge on the situation, don't care.
No, they don't. They don't care. You're right.
But Tim Burchett's telling us that everything would fall apart.
People just trying to squirt,
I think that is, people just trying to squirt.
No, dude, listen, I listen to this. I listen to this stuff, and that's why I'm saying, okay, well, I wonder what this is being. When is it going to be? We're going to be given something. When is it going to be? Is it because you're contending with the Iran thing? You can't do anything with this with Iran still, top of the news, and that has to either wind down or it has to hit a lull or something. I don't know, but the way that there is such a concerted effort between the media, members of Congress, and then on the other hand, you have other limited hangout guys like Dr. Stephen Greer, who are telling everybody that whatever is coming out is going to be part of, the Werner von Braun, last phase fake alien invasion thing. So you have these untrustworthy characters on all sides. You say, okay, well, I don't like anybody that is messaging me things right now, and I don't know where the hell I stand on the whole thing, other than something's going to happen. We might as well just get a safe distance away, try to observe this, and keep a cool head, because I'm 100% with you guys. I've said this for a long time. If we were getting headlines like this in the swarms that we were getting it, with the kinds of hype that people are putting up there, well, they're getting into. You're talking about official statements from members of Congress about alien human hybrid programs. You're talking about the society is going to be kicked off the rails. You're going to see incredible shit. We've got all types of stuff that's going on. And if this was 1997, the world would have stood still. But nobody gives a damn. It really doesn't. I mean, maybe if things were better.
What they've done to us.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, doesn't feel like that long ago.
It's desensitization too.
It's remarkable.
Yeah.
How they've, I think it has something to do with that news cycle where a story used to grip the nation for like months. And then it's
isn't it everything? It's like the food, like people are just porned out. I mean,
yeah, it could be.
It's a news cycle. There's
overstimulated.
Yeah.
That's become the name of the game. Somewhere along the line with all the development and technology and all the comforts that are afforded in this, first world country in 2026, that is synonymous with overstimulation. We just have so much, dude.
Bro.
And you really could stick your head in the sand and not be, because I do bump into these people, even though we just listed all these insane things that we've been subjected to for, the last better part of 10 years. We have our studio here in a public coffee shop. If people are ever in Florida, in Lady Lake, come on over to the Standard Coffee Shop in Lady Lake. The back half is Nephilim Death Squad Studios. You guys can come here, hang out. We get listeners of the show all the time. We got some today. It's a fantastic thing. But we talk to people publicly all the time. And a lot of people have no idea this is happening. A lot of people, if I said any of those things, crashed off-world craft, the Pentagon admitted this, there's orbs and doing that, They have no idea. So I don't know. Maybe we have a bias because it's kind of our job to look at these things.
Yes.
And maybe we're desensitized. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Tim Burchett's right. Maybe if you did say this, you know, we're out in the villages. It's a retiree community. Everybody that lives here is 80 and 90 years old. Maybe
they're going to die.
They would die.
Yeah.
They might actually die.
Dude, listen, I think yes, there is a bias. There is a professional bias there, that this is the stuff that we look at a lot, and it's fun, it's engaging, it's kind of like scintillating in that way, tantalizing, and it gets people involved, and just I don't know, it really enhances a talk format to a great deal. But I think another thing there too is people are not doing as well right now as we hoped we would have been. And we've had such better years in the past where, you know, who knows what's on the horizon. Maybe a golden age is showing up. But for right now, I have days where it's just like, oh, okay, well, if aliens really are arriving and they have malicious intent, I can give you a couple of buildings I want blown up right now. Can I give you a short list of places I want vaporized? Like, I don't even give a shit, because there's so much bigger stresses that I'm dealing with, that anybody out there that's managing a household, that's managing a family, that, you know, whatever the hell it is, it's just, you know, it's crazy when people are in a position where, you know, if their grandparents, my grandparents, if your grandparents, your great grandparents saw what we are all doing, and the money that the average person makes today, and how they can't really live off of it anymore because of how bad things have gotten, that's horrifying. That really is a horrifying thing. Like, bring on the damn aliens. Aside from, I don't have time for that because I've got to put in more hours, and I got to figure out a way to making $500 extra a month so that I can get some sleep at night. That's what most people are thinking about every day. You know, that my gas tank just went from a $40 gas tank to a $65 gas tank. That's just, bring on the fucking grays. I don't care.
I think if it goes up $1, they got to come. I think that's it. I think if it goes up an extra $1,
there's a price point in oil.
It's a price point. Yeah, then disclosure happens.
That's it, man. We're up next. Take a look at this. I know that we spoke about this. We spoke about this before. The bodies that were being grown and dangled and whatever. This is from Futurism. Came out not too long ago. I saved it for you guys. A startup has been quietly pitching cloned human bodies to transfer your brain into. Now, it's not just that. They call them organ sacs, because the other thing that they can do is just take organs from these cloned human bodies, so that you know, they aren't suffocating people with a pillow after a car accident to take their liver for somebody else. And this whole thing is transitioning from cloning animal embryos. Since the mid-90s, scientists have been obsessed with cloning animals, but since then, there has been a lot more need. They want a litany of risks involved here. Scientists have only gone as far as to generate human embryo models, grown stem cells, and clone primates from fetal cells, all that. But now we're talking about just bodies, and it's crazy to think about here, because there's several big theories that will pop up for me, and I'm sure you guys can jump on into. Obviously, number one, soul switching. If that's even possible. A lot of occult traditions talk about soul switching. It's the basis for all the Child's Play, the Chucky stories. But I mean, there's more than that. I don't know what you feel about the whole idea about growing bodies. But go ahead.
Not a fan. Number one. So there's a couple of things I think we covered in the past. Maybe Elon Musk. I'm like, is he having sex with these girls? Or is it just like a weird breeding program? It looks like a breeding program. I know a while ago, I think when Trump was running, possibly in his first term, he proposed funding IVF at the government level. So basically, if you're a regular citizen, we can boost birth rates by doing IVF. But that would mean he'd need access to your genetic information, your sperm and your eggs, and then the government would, of course, hold that for you in perpetuity. It would be their property, which is, again,
they wouldn't do anything with it, by the way.
Would never do anything.
Hold on to it for you.
Yeah, and again, female can produce, I don't know, something like 18 eggs or something like that, and the sperm is millions and millions. So
yeah, it is.
Extrapolate on that. Yeah, it is. Oh yeah. Extrapolate on that, like
making
that's just human
millions
DNA.
of sperm.
Billions of
billions of
You know, since we started this episode, we three have created at least 10 million sperm.
I would say
Hell
that's
yeah.
probably accurate. That might be
High five.
conservative. High five.
Good
All
good
right.
job, you guys. Good job, you guys.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
But something interesting
I've been
that kind of
trying.
it popped up on our radar. I mean, it popped up maybe 2 years ago, but more recently we've had our friend Pierre
Oh my
Dufranc.
God, dude. Yeah.
He's Aurelian, and he's been kind of like
He's
really
Aurelian?
following-
For real?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You said some off.
Well, you said
I think it's our show, so you said it too.
nosotros.
We said some out of pocket things about Aurelian, like an actual Aurelian lady that was, having a dialogue with me, and I think she reported, to the upper Aurelians,
Aurelian.com. So
Aurelian HR.
So this guy's in our email. He's in any way to reach us, and he's talking to us, and they've been on my radar for quite a while, the Aurelians, because they're weird. It's like it's a strange
thing,
it's a sex cult on the top, but then it's like a weird Elohim worship cult in the middle. But at the very bottom of it, in 1997, they opened up this thing called Clonade, which when you sent me this article, I'm like, yeah, it kind of all leads back to what everybody is always after. So they opened up a cloning company in 97. They claimed to have created the first clone, and they named her Eve.
Yeah.
And then there was all kinds of government issues from Florida to West Virginia. And they're like, what are you guys doing over there? Like, we don't even have rules that are specifically against it. But like the FDA was like, hey, I
didn't catch up yet.
Yeah. Like, I don't think you can do that. And they never really proved that they did clone this, but they shut it down and essentially moved their entire practice. So like Raelians don't necessarily practice inside of the United States anymore, although they could be. They're now in like South Africa and in Europe over there. So there's this cloning program, and their ideology behind the cloning program is that our bodies are biological husks, almost like a alien gray, right?
Right.
But your consciousness is the data that is to be uploaded into the biological husk. And that's exactly what this article is saying. But these dudes have been trying this since 97 at least.
They've also been trying to get on our show, and we
say no.
No, we said fuck no. Actually,
but the interesting thing about their cult, besides it being a sex cult,
right,
is the nature of what it is. So that guy Rael says he's approached at a volcano, so like a high place, mountaintop that's also has some fire in it in France, and he's approached by an angel, and the angel comes and gives him an entire new gospel, sort of like a Joseph Smith sort of thing, or maybe a Prophet Muhammad, where he's approached, and then boom, we have this new religion. But the religion is the worship of Elohim, and Elohim is a classification of entity, meaning specifically where they come from. So the higher realm, the heavens, angels, is what we would refer to them.
They also say that
Hebrew woods.
Rael is Jesus's brother.
They say he's a Nephilim,
and that he's a Nephilim.
Wasn't
or demigod? Yeah.
Wasn't there a guy recently? Wasn't there a guy? He was on YouTube and all for a little while. A lot of his clips were getting around because of the things he was saying during his sermons with his small little congregation. But I think he was a documentary filmmaker who was doing some stuff on the Raelians. And he was studying cults, and I believe one of them was a UFO cult. I think it was the Raelians. And just based on what he learned about how that operation worked, he went and then called himself a new Messiah. You remember he has like a black beanie on. It's not Tim Pool.
I remember that.
You know what I'm talking about?
Dude, I didn't know because the production value of those clips was so high that I thought it was like a bit, but it never led to anything. You know what I mean? Like there was never like a big reveal, like this is for a documentary or this is for a film.
They were claiming he was the Antichrist or something like that, right?
Yes. Yeah, here he is.
Everybody was saying that he was the Antichrist. And my money was on like
many such cases.
You know how sometimes they'll do promotional materials for an upcoming movie and you'll think that it's real, and then it's like it's actually just, about, like, I thought it was going to be that, and it was going to be like a big movie about, the Antichrist or something like that.
But it's another guy that's studying this. It always kind of points back to this Raelian sex cult or like Elohim worship.
Yeah.
It points back to angels or fallen angels in some form or fashion. And like I said 2 years ago, when I was just on Twitter, something that really started to put my prickles up about this Raelian cult is Kanye West is on Twitter. This I know is a crazy segue, but he's on Twitter. He's talking a lot of smack about the Jews. This was like right at the precipice of this when he started. And Elon had just brought Twitter, and the big thing was, we're not going to ban anybody from here. Like, this is a free speech platform. But the first person that he suspended or banned for a little while was Kanye West. It was because Kanye West posted a tweet that was promoting his presidential run, and it was the Nazi swastika inside of the Jewish star. And Elon Musk goes, "That's just too far. That's just too far. Like, I gotta suspend you." So it was a big deal. But that logo is the Raelian logo. That's what they use unironically to represent their cult. And then, so I'm like, what the hell what are we pointing at here?
Didn't he accuse Elon of being a product of Raelian sex rituals or something?
Dude, yeah, this is deeper than you think. And now we're doing...
It explains why he got so touchy.
We're reading that article that is talking about human cloning, uploading well, of course, it'll be your consciousness into a new body, but really, you'll probably die, and they'll put some elite in there. But
I love that, though, because it's under the guise of, like, that's anti-Semitic. And then he kicks Kanye off of Twitter, but it's really like, that's what I'm involved in.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm involved in. Don't talk about this alien cult that's, cloning people aiming at some technocratic genetic future.
Well, not only that, there was another thing that actually gave it some substance, and there is as far as South Africa goes, wasn't there like a South African root? There's South African roots with the Raelian cult, no? And Elon is South African.
Right. The lady that you were yelling at was from South Africa.
The lady that I was arguing with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's where they're located. Something weird is happening.
I don't know, but they were trying to send like one of their representatives here. They were like, he can come to Florida, and I'm like, you're not going to convince us.
I just want to know, Frank, and maybe you can answer me. Maybe Timothy Alberino can. Why is it always cloning? Why is it always genetic manipulation? Why is it always aliens? And then why is it always angels, fallen angels, some sort of spiritual entity? Why is it always those same things? And then I get called crazy when I go, maybe they're demons.
I think that Timothy Alberino is a product of a hybridization program between a cat.
First of all, let me just say something. That whole thing, you guys and Timothy Alberino was so strange to me. The whole thing was so strange because at first I said, "Oh, cool." I said, "Top and Raven got Timothy Alberino on, and they're dubbing it a debate." Cool. And I thought that, okay, well, this is gonna be great. That's a good get, and I can't wait to see them all mix it up. Genesis 6, you guys actually have a lot in common, and so
sure do.
But then, yeah. Well, listen, that's the other thing. That is ours. Okay, you guys, so I don't know who the hell told you about the whole cat person thing, but you co-opted something, and I'm pretty sure he thinks I was in on this whole disaster that went on between you guys.
No, you know who told me, Frank? My eyeballs.
Yeah.
We had to
lie. He's got these feline attributes.
Yeah, we had to review a lot of tape.
I spent a long time looking at that guy, by the way, and I just come to terms with it. I go, that's a handsome cat man.
Getting bricked up.
I can't look. If you study a dude, you got to know what he's about if you're going to debate him. And I'm like, fucking, there is something about him. He's got an allure. But I'm pretty sure in the debate that we had, there's a cat box in the corner.
It didn't go well. I'm not proud of it.
No, I was watching it. Because listen, I saw the billing for it, and I know you guys are goofballs, and you lean into that, and you have a lot of fun. You do good work, but you have a lot of fun. So I'm thinking, all right, well, they're taking a certain path to promoting this, and they should. And then And I was amped about it, and then I didn't watch it live or whenever it premiered. But then I got around to watching some stuff, and people were sending me timestamps, and I as I'm watching, I'm going, "Oh shit!" I said, "This is," I said, "This is not." It doesn't seem very friendly. It seemed like friendly. It wasn't friendly at all. It
wasn't fun.
He was very mad when he showed up.
Inside information. He logged on, and you log on. You go, "Hey, Frank."
You do a little pre thing.
Digital hug. We go, "Hey, Tim," and he goes, "Me? You fucking talking to me?"
I got on. I don't want to get you with the copyright, but we have a sound drop with the Indiana Jones music.
That was uncalled for.
And when he came in the room, I hit the Indiana Jones music, and I said, "What's up, brother? Good to see you." And he said, "Are you talking to me?" which is an insane thing to say when you've just shown up in the green room. So
all downhill from there.
The vibe was off for a lot of it, but it's not over yet. We're at Bohemian Grove. We're actually going to have a Timothy Alberino costume competition.
Oh my
Oh, that's
gosh.
happening.
Yeah, so there's going to be a limited amount of entries. I think 20, because each one's about 3 minutes to judge them. And
a
have
whole
them hit
hour on that.
I think a whole hour is due. Yeah, so we're gonna have the best Timothy Alberino costume competition, and I think our audience gets it. If you're a Catman in an Indiana Jones outfit, there's gonna be extra points for creativity.
It got heated, Frank, but I'm a fan. I like
him too.
I
Yeah.
like him.
He doesn't like us anymore.
He's handsome.
Yeah, he does not like you guys anymore. But it's okay. Listen, there's so many people out there in the media space, people that don't like anybody. There are people, frequent guests and friends of mine who don't like each other, that out of courtesy, once I find out about their distaste for each other, I just make sure there's a couple of weeks put in between them on the broadcast calendar, almost like you don't want people sitting next to each other at a wedding. And I, when I saw this, I was just like, oh shit. And then I don't know, I had a hard time getting him booked on the show. I said, what the hell's going on here? Then somebody gave me a timestamp when the meowing and stuff started. And I said, oh no, Timothy thinks that I told them he's a cat person and that I'm in on this. He thinks I'm in on this. I know he does now, but I don't know. I don't know how you guys found out.
It's not true.
Okay.
We got no information from you whatsoever.
I didn't even watch this show.
Timothy Alberino has he's been, what it is, man. Nobody's ever
A lot of sexual tension.
It is that's first and foremost, but nobody's ever interacted with them that way.
Right.
And there's something wrong with us, and I'm willing to admit that. I think everybody knows that there's something wrong with us, and people, they typically treat him with the reverence and the respect that he probably deserves, arguably. Typically, people don't dress like Indiana Jones
diploma, so I mean, let's be reasonable.
Well, no, but he's got a megalithic diploma, and people don't dress like Indiana Jones and interview him because that's not a normal thing to do.
No,
and that's something that I'm struggling with. But no, I didn't get information. I did find out, after, because I'm studying him for many episodes, long episodes leading up to the debate.
We called it in the mind of a madman.
I know it was the Indiana Zone, Mind of a Madman. And that was the deep dives that I was doing on him. And through that process, we realized that we could never beat him in a debate. But we could spray him with a water bottle. I realized he had like this feline look to him. Exotic. I don't know. And once I started saying that, people in the chat did start to say, oh, by the way, Frank has also noticed these attributes. So it wasn't an effort. It wasn't a combining thing, but I did become aware after some point.
Number one, you can't dress like Indiana Jones and nobody say it. You also can't look like a cat and nobody says it.
Well,
I mean, maybe you can.
You look like Lalo Salamanca. Nobody says it. It's crazy.
True. I know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to give you a little bit more on that, it actually wasn't necessarily looks. It was the way that all started with us was we were talking about cryptids one night. My buddy Matt was here. I told him to come by tonight, but he wasn't going to be by in time. And that night, we were asking about different types of things, and Matt chimed in. It was like one of the only times he chimed in that entire episode, and he asked Timothy about, what about cat people? And at that, and Timothy seemed to like ignore it or just completely like gloss over it. And then after Timothy got off the air, Matt goes, "You saw how he ignored that?" And and that's how it started. It wasn't and that was probably about 4 years ago.
There's a thing about cat people in like
in the Bible.
Well, it's in Arabic lore as well.
Yeah.
You got
the lion-faced men of Moab.
Well, that's one of them, but I think like the jinn and different Arabic beliefs, they talk about cat people being like, and dog people.
Yeah, they're a thing.
It's a strange.
Listen, dog-headed men. I love the stories about that. Very much like werewolf stuff. Like my
Tony Merkel. You guys have hung out with him before,
I love
huh?
Tony, yeah.
So I mean, he's like he's one of the first people I would go to talk about stuff like that. He's done documentaries on it. He's actually gone out in the woods and had an encounter. But you know, the cat-headed people and all that stuff. That's something else. And well, anyway, lamentable end to what could have been a fruitful relationship. Like I said,
I still have hope.
I think you guys really have a lot in common, and perhaps if you guys are all at contact in the desert one day, you all shake hands and for whatever, have a glass of milk together, and you'll be fine.
As I said,
Perhaps.
we need a written apology. We need him to send that text message to all the people that he said don't talk to us. Just reverse that.
I would like a hat.
And the hat.
Yeah,
A
it doesn't have
hat,
to be
and we're
his hat.
done.
It's just to be a high quality hat.
Stop it! It's enough. It's enough.
All right,
we've
fine,
we've
we'll
already
take that.
demanded these things, and we've tried to make amends, but they're just not going to happen. So
Yeah,
but it's a long life.
I love him.
Whoa!
Well, you guys have a very funny way of showing it. That's all I'm going to say. And you know what? If it wasn't for that unfortunate, I was like, oh no, he thinks I'm in on it. That was the only thing.
So sorry.
It's whatever. Honestly, there's nothing like the internet is made for drama these days. So if you guys have it out with Timothy Alberino, we're all just watching, popping the popcorn and saying, wow, that was awkward. But then, very rarely does a member of the audience get looped in a way that is a little bit too intimate. And that's what I felt like. Anyway.
So you thought the request for a subtle meow was too much?
No, I just felt like when I just couldn't believe how I don't know how.
Did you find it suspicious that he ignored it?
He did ignore the request to meow.
Well, at that point, obviously he was just waiting for the clock to expire, guys. He just had to get out of there. But anyway, we need to keep following up on this stuff. I was very upset that you guys weren't able to get Bohemian Grove together for March like you had told me, David.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you might have something going on, something cooking later on in the summer. We'll see what we can do about that.
Yeah, it turns out that it was actually very hard to secure a venue. I don't know why, but
He made the calls. I mean, he's calling everybody.
well,
Crazy.
we did create a reputation for ourselves at the last event, but things are going to be not so insane this time. So right now we're looking at August 8th. It's going to be in Wildwood, Florida. Keep an eye on toplobster.com for the announcements for the tickets. And I was actually hoping, Frank, that not only would you be there, but that you would help us with a very special episode of our cultural commentary show, Neph to America. I think you'd really enjoy it. I think you'd be a great addition to it. And I'd love to share the stage with you. So, that's ball's in your court, Frank. I came all the way to, I'm going to hold this over your head.
I did.
To West,
So it's fine
come.
if you don't.
He didn't
Don't worry
come.
about it.
Don't worry about him. To Westchester. I'd love to have you, man. We're having a whole bunch of creators there, and we've got a VIP day that's going to be in our studio. I learned a lot from the Quite Frankly soiree and jamboree, and I think that an intimate VIP day with the people who really support the show and bringing them around the studio and to the coffee shop and really just hanging out and getting to see the people that make things go is a fantastic move. So I'm stealing that from you. And then the second day it's a long day, Frank. It's going to be like maybe 12 to 7 p.m. And then after that, we're going to go out and we're going to have an after hang at a local spot. So
the second coffee shop.
the second coffee shop is a sister coffee shop to this one. So we're fleshing it out right now. We're inviting a lot of people. I hope you can make it. And I'd love to see some Franklies there. I know you got some of those guys hanging out in Florida. I had the pleasure of meeting some of them at your event, and so I'd like to see some of those people come out as well.
Well, you just let me know when all the details solidify a little bit more, and I'll let people know about it. And we're going to have a spring fling this year. That's going to be on June 5th and 6th. So if you guys happen to be in possession of a teleportation device that gets you here anywhere around D-Day, then it will be great to have you both here as well for that too. So just let me know. Give me all the information you got.
All right. Thank you, brother.
All right, Nephilim Death Squad. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Frank. Always a pleasure.
Have a good one. Take care. Okay, there the boys go. Well, I had to bring it up. I thought I wasn't not going to bring it up. And then, of course, it was just teed up. So there's that. Ladies and gentlemen, wowee. Wowee. Yeah, no, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time this year. I hope that I have, I don't know, is that something I would get onto a plane for? It'd be convenient if I can get myself onto a plane for it. But maybe I'll just drive. I don't think Lauren would be going. I think she would probably just stay back with Aurora. But then that means that I'd be on the road for a day, hang out, come back another day on the road. Probably better just to fly if I did something like that. We'll see. Crazy year ahead. But what did you guys think about tonight? There's a little bit more on this. On this futurism post. Take a listen to this. That hasn't stopped from exploring the idea, that's the idea of creating brainless bodies, of a secretive effort to realize an alternative to anti-aging tech that sounds like it was ripped straight out of a dystopian science fiction novel. A billionaire-backed stealth startup called R3 Bio, recently announced that it was raising money to develop non-sentient monkey organ sacs. As Wired magazine reported last week, an eyebrow-raising alternative to animal testing. Such structures would contain all types of organs, including the brain, ultimately serving as a source for donor organs and tissues. It's crazy. But according to the sprawling follow-up investigation by MIT Technology Review, R3 Bio's founders secretly have a far more ambitious goal in mind: create entire brainless clones of a human body that aging or ill individuals could one day transplant their brains into. One advantage of not developing the brain in the donor bodies, albeit a ghoulish one, such brain-free clone would neatly circumvent certain moral conundrums over the concept. So, there you have. So they're saying that the advantage of not developing the brain inside of the donor body, having it be a body sans the brain, even though it's weird, is that such a brain-free clone would neatly circumvent certain moral conundrums over the That means whatever the hell kind of a Frankenstein you're creating, at least you wouldn't be ripping its brain out. And whatever kind of strange, unnatural, ungodly life it was having just for a little while in that little Bacta tank, then you're putting this sickly person's brain inside of it, and then all of a sudden the body, if there was no brain there, then at least it was just. But then again, I guess I have to imagine that you're going to somebody saying, in a future where this crazy thing is possible, yes, well, I like my body. I rather like my body. I've had a nice time with my body. I would just like another 85 years with it. So I want to clone myself and just make me 23 again. And I'm just going to put my brain in there. And then all of a sudden you're 23 with a nasty scar, but you're 23 and you have 85 years worth of experience. That's dangerous. I think that's the most dangerous part. What do you guys think about that? Forget about the idea that obviously it's playing God. I mean, the cloning aspect is crazy, but then again, you're extending would that actually really be the same life? I guess it would be. It'd be the brain. Damn, I wish I had a doctor in here right now. Somebody like a scientist that can talk to me about this. That's insane to even consider the possibilities. Obviously, I'm not doing it. And it's not going to be ready for me anyway. I just want a good night's sleep. That's all I want. I can't take this anymore. But that's nuts. Anyway, hey, listen, real quick, because I want to take your calls now. I want to talk about good night's sleep real quick and thank my sponsor for the evening. If you are struggling, like I have in the past, especially over the last year of all this new innovation for the show, tossing and turning, waking up groggy, that's the worst. Never feeling like you fully got rest. Verso Evening Being. I met these awesome people during the Jamboree last year. They're on for the rest of the month of April. You got to get into the Evening Being. This has been the thing that I have clung to. It's delicious, science-backed. It's a nightcap powder made with clinically studied ingredients We talked about it before. The glycine, the magnesium that lowers the body temperature, keeps you asleep. The L-theanine is one of the active ingredients inside of the keto brains. It calms you down. The saffron extract is what gives it that beautiful yellow glow. But the tanginess, the no melatonin, zero fog the next day, just calm, restorative sleep. That's what it's all about. I'm telling you, I only bring things on that are going to improve your daily experiences while you're awake and also asleep. It's everything. It's everything. So that's why I have clung to these types of sponsors and these types of products. And this has become a really, really awesome addition to my nightly routine. The evening being. So I'm putting that in the link is in the description of the episode. Click right through and give it a try. Seriously, give it a try. I think you're going to like it. It's soothing. You look forward to it at night. I think it's mostly the color for me. It does something for me psychologically. And then while I'm thinking about how nice it looks, that's when all the other stuff goes to work and clobbers me over the hammer with a pillow-wrapped hammer, of course. Very, very calming. All right, Jay Britt says, Greg Phillips, Waffle House teleporter, was with Catherine of True the Vote, going after Arizona voter fraud. I followed him on Twitter, then Truth Social. He's been fighting cancer over the past year or two. I never heard the teleportation story, though. If you type it into Google, it pops up a lot. And that's the first time I searched for it, so I don't know. Sparrow Knows says, Frank, thanks for helping me out with the time zone difference. Oh, wait. Thanks for helping me out for the time zone difference, Raven. Top is still my favorite, but I love you both the same. Hoping to make it to Bohemian Grove this year. I'll supply the water spray bottle for the cat man. Much love. You know, that was our joke, damn it. Reb Sims 89. Thank you so much for a wonderful super chat. And now you're in the running for what is a lot of money worth of prizes. Can you imagine that? 99 cents, but from Red Sim. That counts just as anything else does. If everybody that watched this show gave 99 cents a night, holy shit, my life would be changed forever. Forever. Let's see. Stove, thank you so much. Love you, brother. Indiana Dunderino says, aliens are demons, and Timothy Alberino stole my hat. Says Indiana Dunderino. Yep, my relationship with him is fried after tonight. Let's see here. Jay Semo says, excellent show, Frank. Lots to think about. Oh, I got even more. I got even more for you. I just don't know where we're going to put it all. Let me see here. Awaken Boomer says, hi, Frank. I'm a cat person. Everybody just line up. Line up. Let's count them all. Let's count the ways. Silly boy. Actually, let's put the lines are open right now. Call on in. 914-200-0269. I want to hear from y'all. Do it. Call in. Silly Boar says, let's get the gold pills flowing. Yes, please. Let's hit that nightly gold pill goal of 10,000. Let's blast past it. Let's get to 2 million. Corey J. Thank you. Tommy Jekyll says, was there a way for you to write off super chats, gold pills, etc. as tips, Frank? More people I talk to are saying that, yes, this is possible. I spoke to my accountant. This could literally save the show. As far as busting open doors of opportunity that have been, closed for a while. But yeah, I told my accountant, listen, I'm going to start categorizing this. I can categorize these for everything I read on Yahoo Finance and everything, that not only are people that work in digital media, are they rightfully categorizing super chats as tips, as gifts that are not, income. But ever since the big beautiful bill or whatever, people feel even more comfortable doing so, which there's no other thing for it. If you are a monthly sponsor of a show like mine and you come in at $5 a month, $10 a month, whatever, you're getting either universal perks or you're getting a specialty tier. Like if you become a pen pal of mine on Patreon or Subscribestar or anything like that, you're coming in at a specific level, you're getting specific perks, and that's that. But if somebody just sends over $10 one night and then $12 the next night, $3.33 the night after that, saying, hey, Frank, good evening, or much love to you, Frank, or happy birthday and all that stuff. There's no I'm not sending you a hat. You didn't buy a shirt. It's cash equivalent. It's voluntary. It's non-negotiable. So it's a tip. The real question is, can you separate it from things that are monthly, which are still necessary because it gives me the ability to budget? So that's what I say. Become a small monthly sponsor, and then, you can really love me down with some tips. Do it to anybody you enjoy. That's what I'm saying. This is how the media is now. Don't just get, with all of us, same way. I subscribe to I send $5 a month to quite a few friends of mine who I enjoy their work. Just because this is the way it is now. I know it's magical. You know that at any given time, there are thousands of streams that are live. You find the ones you like, and it's just conveniently there for you. But you know what? It's a lot of time. And people who are doing it well, people are doing it at high levels, show them you love them. Yeah, obviously, I hope that I'm one of those people for you. But whoever you watch, do that for them. This is the new nature of the media. And if we're going to continue to, anchor ourselves here in this aura of legitimacy, that's where you got to put it behind there. It's good stuff. Tommy Jekyll, thank you. Homegoy says, people are getting lazy with YouTube and other big tech. We need to support small providers like Pilled and Gab. Yeah. Pilled is huge. Pilled, everybody's got to get behind Pilled. I look at DLive going away, and I'm like, damn, I thought DLive was doing well. What Pilled has done, and how still accessible it is, and how they take everybody's feedback. They've turned a wonderful operation around just with the feedback of the users alone. Incredible. Boys Block, another great show. Safety Net, thank you. Love Bomb. JR at the Lake says, what a great time to be living. It really is. I don't know what the hell we're going to be served up throughout this year. It's going to be interesting, though. Let's take a call. You're on the air, sir.
Oh, my gosh. I can't believe I'm on the air. That's crazy. This is Frank?
Yes, it is. Who's this?
This is Dingus McLean.
Got you, Dingus. Good to have you on.
Yeah, I'm following from Nephilim Death Squad, and I'm calling in, and I really enjoy you and your show, so I'm probably going to start watching. But I just wanted to call in to interact with you. But I mean, in my opinion, I wouldn't worry about Tim Alberino because I believe that man is not seeking the good truth.
Well, I'm not. It's not something I'm worried about. I consider Timothy Alberino a friend. He's come on this show for at least 12.5 times or something since God knows how many years back. I was just taken aback by and it's what it is. Like, there's plenty of people.
I was going to say, yeah, the animosity probably isn't necessary. The animosity isn't necessary. He's a man. He's trying to find his own truth. But I think the only worry with any of the stuff is if he's compromised, which I think a lot of people these days are compromised. I believe Alex Jones is compromised, and he's the William Cooper of our era.
Well, William Cooper had a lot of interesting things to say about Alex Jones. You should, and I know that they did one broadcast together back in the. I remember putting that on the network afterwards. Just one time that Alex Jones and William Cooper talked to each other. But William Cooper didn't really like anybody. Either way, Dingus, it's been great to meet you, and I hope I hear from you a lot more.
Right on. Yeah, I'm going to start watching the show. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you. It's awesome that the NDS guys have some people that swung by. Listen, it's one of those things we all got to experience. The only reason why I brought it up, it's like, I'm not Timothy Alberino's publicist, so don't call in and, hey, listen, here's my theory about Alberino. I don't care. I wish I had Alberino on the calendar still, but maybe one day it'll happen again. I'd love for that to be, because I am not Nephilim Death Squad. I just happen to be friends with both Timothy Alberino and Nephilim Death Squad, who apparently are at odds with each other. And I had nothing to do with It just looks like I just listen. It just looks like I did. You know. Anyway, let's see here. Amethyst Cat, thank you so much. Tommy Jekyll says, I hope we can avoid upshot of Twilight Zone's To Serve Man episode. Yeah. To Serve Man episode. That's something else. Hold on a second. Let me see here. Curious if these guys are familiar with the science of spoken word, decrees against astral hordes, etc. Oh, I didn't bring that up. I should have brought it up. Tommy Jekyll, if teleportation was safe and effective, the gatekeepers for that would not let us do it. Vesper, I know you want to talk about the chemtrails would go away. People wouldn't need to fly in planes at all. You know, just the plane farts in general. Vesper says, come what may, I feel blessed to share time on this planet with Frank and the Franklies. I'm right there with you. There's nothing that is going to stop me from being excited about this year and every year to follow until the life is taken from me. I have lived longer than I have left to live, and I'm ready for whatever is next, says JR at the lake. Look at that. Corey, that's pretty badass, JR. Corey, thank you. Mulberry says, I'm also a cat. Truthful Mama, thank you so much. And Rival 696, here's my 99 cents. Thank you. Dollar menu it is. Okay, 713, you're on the air.
Yeah, hey Frank, this is DJ Swisher Sweet from Houston. I haven't talked to you in quite a while. How you doing?
Hello, sir. It's good to hear from you. So what's on your mind tonight?
Good show. And hey, that guy's funny. Timothy Alberino is a great friend of the show. I was watching him the other day, man. He's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like the way you have the new studio. Looks fantastic. And,
thank you.
I will say the music is kind of changed at the beginning.
Yes.
But I tell you what, you've got some smooth jazz songs. I Shazam them. None of them will Shazam. So you must have some weird thing where you get them from. Where are you getting those from?
I'll tell you, the openings, because, you know, back in October, I said, okay, well, listen, obviously we have to play a completely different game, not only on YouTube and a couple other platforms, but I was getting almost all of my podcast uploads completely nuked on Spotify, and you know, because of copyrights, all of a sudden, even my opening theme. So I had to find copyright workarounds to keep some good atmosphere, but use things that we can do. And I found this stuff. I don't know. There's this whole here, guys, for everybody at home. If you're watching, it's this whole kind of like Daft Punk style, funky chill wave, synth wave stuff. You know, who knows if it's generated by an actual person or if it's generated by AI or something like that. But people have been
it's like that smooth. It's like a smooth jazz, and you always play like. I can tell you there because you turn up the volume a little by little, you know. So,
oh yeah,
but they're great songs. Because I'm driving home at the time, like, those are cool songs.
Well, good. When you go home, then go and search on YouTube for something like put Daft Punk, retro funk, new disco, psychedelic, whatever, and you'll go down a whole funky rabbit hole of stuff. You'll like it.
Okay, I'll give it a shot, man. Cool. Yeah, but I remember you were talking about how you were getting hit for those songs and stuff, but you did pretty good with it. It sounds okay. Sounds great.
Well, good. I'm happy. Well, you know what? The good thing is, and thank you for the call, my friend. The good thing is, we still play all types of awesome music. We do call-in nights on the flip side, Saturday night shows. Because so much of it is on pilled.net, right there on quitefrankly.tv. No paywall. It's all there. It's on a true independent streaming platform that doesn't give us any shit. And we're actually really good friends with. That's where we do all of our movie watch parties. You know, if you're part of the film club, we watch movies over there. We are listening to all type. For my birthday, I stayed on for a whole other hour last Thursday, taking requests, and we had an awesome time. Listening to all kind of music. Santana. Listen to Santana and Everclear for the first time in 20 years. That was pretty cool. But yeah, making some tweaks along the way. Can't keep doing things the way you did, no matter how much you love doing them, because unfortunately, the internet changes every 2 years. The entirety of the internet changes. You have to change everything. It sucks, but that's just the way it is.
All right, let's go. 504, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Good evening. Thanks for taking my call, sweetie.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am persevering. Always.
Persevering. Good
No
to hear
other
from you,
option,
Kelly.
right?
Yes.
I saw a good while back, and I emailed you about it, I believe. Tim had a show with Tyler Welch, The Deep End. It was a series of a few visits with Tim. And Tim admitted to being a lion in an incident when something happened to him on an adventure. And whatever was happening, I forget the exact details, but he says he turned into a lion. So I'll try to go back and find it.
Kelly,
It's out there.
Kelly, you have to find that timestamp. You have to find it
Checking
now.
my old emails. I'm pretty sure I emailed it to you.
I mean, I'll look around, but please double.
I'll look again.
Okay, thank you.
I'll look in my emails in my sent file. Thanks, sweetie.
Thank
Have a
you.
beautiful night.
Thank you so much. Yeah, listen. We talked about brainless bodies and all this UFO stuff and what it really is going to mean and when it might be rolled out and what purpose it's going to serve. Of course, all we're talking about is Timothy Alberino right now. But I knew it was going to come up. Because it's just I've been getting emailed about it. And I really hope that Timothy Alberino returns to the show. I'm going to get in touch with him and say, hey, would you like to come on in May? And maybe we'll just put a little bit of a grocery store divider line between appearances of Tim and whatever. Because how do we go into a time of disclosure and not get Timothy Alberino's take on things? You know, I was the one that called him a modern day Indiana Jones, by the way. Okay. The first time I brought him on and I went on his website. I got his bio together. I'm putting together an introduction over here. And I called him a modern day Indiana Jones. Suddenly on the website, the next time he was on, it says, he's been called a modern day Indiana Jones. I said, you know, I love people down over here. I don't have any ill will. Put in a lot of time building up these relationships. And so we'll see. We'll see. We need everybody. We need the Nephilim Death Squad calling in for things. We need people like Timothy Alberino. We need Jay Dyer and Timothy Gordon. We need everybody. That's it. Would love when, you know, it'd be a perfect world if we still had people like Dilly calling in, and, you know, Rich Barris I haven't spoken to in a little while. I should get in touch with him, see what he's going on. He draws a lot of fire these days. To hell with it. To hell with it. What are we hermits over here? Anyway, let's take a call. 562, you're on the air. Go ahead there, sir.
Yeah, what's up, Frank?
Hector.
This is Hector.
Where the hell have you been?
Man?
Where the hell have you been?
Hey, man, it's been a minute.
It's been like, what, 5 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Bro,
quite a journey.
My daughter's all grown up.
Yeah, just one daughter, or you got more children?
Just one daughter.
All right. Well, I guess I'm beating you. I have two now of my own.
Good for you, man. Good for you. We'll see. We'll
three with my stepdaughter, but yeah, I'll include her. I'll throw her in there. I got three.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what God has in store. Hopefully, hopefully we can catch up to you soon.
Yeah, well, I am actually Orthodox, so I listen to Jay Dyer, and I'm like, oh, he's on Quite Frankly. I got to see how he's doing.
Dude, come on now. You know this. Jay Dyer was on. I mean, he was on for years and years and years before he really even started, really blowing up. I mean, he's all over the place now. But you know Jay Dyer from this show from back in the day. But anyway, I hope life's been good with you for the last 5 years. Maybe we'll hear from you a little bit more often. I'm sorry I've been boring you. Something's been going on, but I also know how life is. I know how life is too.
Life takes you different paths, but just coming back around, and I'm pretty sure you had a similar journey, getting back to Christ, or following Christ, and So
Yes, indeed.
you know, at the end of the day, all the madness, you know, it doesn't matter as much if you got a solid or at least establish yourself in a church.
You know, that's
yeah.
I'm telling you, I know that there's a lot of people out there who are very involved in their respective churches, and also just constantly they're news people. That's what they do. They discuss the news. They like talking about geopolitics and all that. But I'll tell you, it's one of those perspective building things, and it's always been more about news and current events for me. And you're right that when that's been the effect this journey into, you know, my spiritual life and religion has brought me. It's brought me a little bit more to it's made the frivolous headlines, that the kinds of headlines that I know I've been talking about for so many years. I can spot the headlines that are going to be fun. I can spot the ones that are really just going to be like, oh, who cares about a budget crisis? I'm never going to be talking about a budget crisis again. That's for sure. You know, it's just like, please. I mean, I actually just heard, I saw the other day that AOC, it was like maybe a tweet from the New York Post that just went by my dash, that people were kind of ripping on AOC or something like that on Twitter because she went to a Yankee game in the middle of a government shutdown. And I said, there's a government shutdown going on? And I don't even know these things. Let's see, government shutdown. When will the government shutdown end? This is here. Listen to this. This is from Delaware Online. I grabbed the first thing I could see, a USA Today network. When will the government shutdown end? Updates, odds on House vote. I didn't even know that there was a shutdown. I don't care.
Yeah, I guess when people got stuck in 4-hour or 5-hour TSA lines, and that's when I kind of came to know about that.
Okay, the TSA. We're still talking about that again. Okay, yeah. See, yeah, there are people that are probably covering this story every day, and I don't know how they do it. I really don't know. But yeah, good points, man, about life taking you different places. I'm glad you're having a good time.
Yes. Do you think that having a daughter is something that motivated you to get back to, like, sort of having a faith-based system?
Well, yeah. That started. That definitely started with Aurora a lot more. I remember when Lauren went into labor. First of all, Aurora was a very big miracle for us. We'd never really thought that we were going to have any kind of luck having children at all. So that's why I say, no matter what, Aurora, I feel like just having Aurora is like playing with house money at this point, because we're so already abundantly blessed that that was one thing. And one day I'll go over the strange circumstances that Lauren even found out that she was pregnant. It always has something to do with prayer with us. And I think it was the day that it was September 13th when we went to the hospital and Lauren was in labor. I brought my rosary with me, and that's and that was the start of it. And then it was 2022 is when I really started praying fervently, because there were so many big deaths and sickness in our family in 2022. And then by 2023 is when I started working my way back to, there for Easter and Ash Wednesday, and I wanted to take part in the sacraments again. And then, of course, I had to get Aurora baptized. And the first thing I did, she might have been about 6 months old or something like that. And I started thinking about, hey, what are we doing? Because we're still in the middle of COVID. And now we saw all types of stupid shit where everybody's baptizing each other with squirt guns in the middle of COVID because nobody wants. I said, oh God. I said, well, we're not doing that. We're going to let things just calm down a little bit. And in the meantime, I remember I took a little bit. My grandmother, she went to Lourdes probably back in the 70s or 80s or something like that. And she brought a small little canteen to Lourdes, and she filled it up at the spring there. Where there's the apparition, Marian apparition there at Lourdes, and we still have this canteen in my family. I have it in my apartment. I actually have it up in my bookshelf, and I very nicely put together and stuff. And I remember just in the waiting for some time to get back to normalcy
and try to figure out what our life in the church and is going to be, I anointed Aurora with some of that water from Lourdes that my grandmother collected decades ago, and that was her first really, initiation into it all. I like to believe, and from there it only grew. And she comes with me to mass all the time. She loves it. It's something that we share together. Something that I was hoping
you're
for.
in New York, right? So I'm sure there's an Orthodox church you could check out. It's not too late. It's not too late to find the true church.
That's what I hear. Yeah,
Look, I grew up Catholic myself. Then when I stopped listening to you, I did the whole flat Earth thing, and from there I'm like, dude, if the Earth is flat, God is out there. And so I started seeking Christ again. Went through Protestants. COVID came. I saw they were all just 501c3 churches, just trying to take their money, 10%.
Is the Earth still flat? Is the Earth still flat?
Well, I really don't care about the shape anymore. I just know that we're not. I just know we're not revolving around the sun.
Yeah, I guess the shape really just whatever. We have so little time here. Let's just kick some ass, and then the second we draw that last breath, I think we're going to gain a little bit of altitude at that point. We'll get a good glimpse at the end, right?
Yeah, but I don't think the shape matters as much as the deception of getting people away from God. Because if you say we're like in this nothingness, and that's the biggest psyop of it, it's just that we're nothing.
I get that.
God is far away, and
yeah. No, I get that. So, I get that from people there too, and they say that whole pitch there about flat versus round, and round being just in the middle of infinity, going at a rapidly expanding universe where we're just actually, when you think about it, it means that we're getting more and we're becoming more and more alone by the millisecond. And I understand why people saying that could be a dejecting thing, whereas other people think that it is far more, fascinating and mind blowing.
But it also just goes against your senses. I mean, the Earth is not moving. The sky doesn't look like it's spinning. You never see meteors going from the horizon up to the sky. If it was relative, then you'd see shooting stars from all over. You always just see them coming down from the top.
We'll see.
All sorts of things, like flight patterns. It doesn't make sense what they tell us, but at the end of the day, once I found orthodoxy, like that's the I was out of the rabbit holes. You know what I mean? Like, because it was just like
Are most people in the Orthodox Church flat earthers?
No, you know what? The younger kids are kind of like, yeah, it could be a thing, but once you're kind of like in the church, you're not really sitting down and talking with these people about like all these rabbit holes, like you kind of, some people kind of go just for fun, just for kicks, but
yeah, you just have your
focus like, oh, hey, have you read this book by Saint Philaret of Moscow? Oh yeah, man, that's a great book. Or it's just like we're focusing on the lives of the saints, how we could, just get closer to Christ, be more saintly, just reach theosis, which again you won't get that from the Catholic Church. You won't have the essence energy distinctions, which are key. To having a relationship with Christ.
Well, Hector, it's 9:00, so we got to wrap it up here.
That's right. You're in New York. Anyway, I'll call again. I'll keep up. I subscribed. I'll be listening to you, and we'll catch up where we left off.
I appreciate it. In the meantime, I'll try to avoid hell the best of my abilities, and it's great to hear from you. And thank you all so very, 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 very much. This is great. This has been a great night, where old friends have come home to roost, and we got a lot going on. Ghost Murmur technology. Keep a lookout for that, guys and gals. If you have anything else on that, I'd like to know more. It came out of Poly Market. It was commented on by somebody else. How the hell can you listen and you can detect a single person's heartbeat from God knows how many thousands of miles away? I mean, that is a very small electrical charge. You're telling me that doesn't have any kind of an implant in there? There's nothing else going on? Ghost Murmur. Hey, by the way, over the course of this broadcast, we have now broken 104,000 subscribers. Okay? This last 1,000 subscribers is so meaningful because it
is a showing of, I mean, this was so much effort into putting out new, more pointed content and tinkering with things, from music to thumbnails to shorts to mid-range stuff. Now we're putting it all together, and it's the first time we picked up 1,000 subscribers without having somebody very popular out there say, you know, everybody should go follow Quite Frankly. This has not happened in a long time. And this was very important to me. And I wasn't making a big deal about it, but I have to say right now, because when we went live, we were at 103,980 or something, and now we're at 104,005. I'm sure by the time I flip the end switch here, it'll be down under 104,000 again, but whatever. We did it. We did it. And hopefully that is the sign of many more things to come. Thank you for the support. Wherever the hell you're watching, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, like it, share it, comment. That is huge. That is just as important as becoming a small monthly sponsor and patronizing our wonderful sponsors who come on as small. All of our sponsors are, you know, smaller businesses that put a lot into their concepts, and they're really, really awesome. So thank you to everybody. And thanks again to Top and Raven. Good guys, fun to hang out with. You never know what's going to happen. All right. I'll catch you on the flip side. We're not done yet. I'm going to drop the link in the chat room right now. And with that, I wish you all a great night. Oh, hold on. Let me make sure I didn't miss any super chats. Let me see. Hold on. Shit, there's a couple. Yeah, just a couple. Scott Johnson. Thank you so much, Scott Johnson. Sent a 99 center. Nice. Who knows? You know, if Google takes 30% off the top of that, then it's 70 cents. But who the hell gives a shit? It wasn't there before. In Veritas says, I'm the Raelian. I'm the Raelian, they said. Read your emails. Brain transfer is not possible presently. Only the Elohim can do it like they did with Jesus. Like they did with Jesus. Oh boy. This was brought to my doorstep now. Well, I guess I'll be on the lookout. I'll tell the intern. Look out for this in the email. Okay, here we go. One more time over here. Let's see. Haywood says, what would you do if you found out that the aliens are the God of the Bible? What would I do? I don't know. That's a question that a lot of atheist, agnostic front people have asked in the past. It's a very antagonistic question to ask as well. You know, this has been the reason why so many have said in the past, what would disclosure do for people? How would disclosure challenge a person's faith? Is there anything, if there's any way to verify that what you are seeing in the sky, that what is being described to you as being whatever, what is happening before you is actually in fact true and not part of some sort of a government deception, if you're getting true disclosure and confirmation, in what way could it knock the world off track, like Tim Burchett was talking about? This is some of the reasons, some of the things that some people are saying. Well, hey, alien, the Anunnaki, they've been here, they've been engineering us from the beginning. They are the progenitors of the human race. So that's where that goes. And I guess that's for another night. Anyway, look in the chat room for the link. If you can't find the link, get to quitefrankly.tv and press play. It's time to get to the flip side. Thank you so much.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Yes, Quite Frankly is filmed before a live studio audience, and now it's time to come to the flip side, where your support over there is so good for media, for a small independent media that needs to be a bulwark against all the bullshit. That is what pilled.net is, ladies and gentlemen. Join us for a little bit where we take our hair down, and especially me. My hair is up in a luscious man bun right now. You can't see it. It's under my cap. There's so much hair on my head. It's going to make your mouth water. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. We've got Diamond and Leah of Oppenheimer Ranch Project on with us. It's going to be good to talk to them again. I guess we could talk to them about the shape of the earth for a little bit. Oh, God help us. It's either the Jews or the flat earth. What do you want to talk about every night? Okay, see you later.
Take care of yourself, baby. By the way, I faked every orgasm.